Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep, previewing Week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm Zach Bruner, Janet Wilson's in the middle, Luke Reimer on the right. Trevor Land is tapping out for tonight, but I do have his predictions. Maybe he'll join in the chat with his bold predictions or to call somebody out who knows. But he's not on the show tonight. Luke, what do you got?
I know something that'll make him mad, and maybe he'll join.
Okay.
Kevin King kind of tapped out of last game with an illness, and Trevor's kind of putting on his Kevin King side of his body here. So
that's a good point. He is kind of the Kevin King of the show. People have been saying it. They've been writing in. I've gotten letters. But, hey, Kevin King, athletic guy. Trevor is an athletic guy. So whatever. That's fine. I guess. Let's talk about last week, though, because, boy, Packers look pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, Sunday Night Football, Packers played the 49ers going to San Francisco. Reports naturally pop up before the game about how Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan aren't friends anymore. Ooh, I'm sure it's just a random report that just popped out and wasn't planned to do that. And it kind of looked to be the case after the game. Obviously, everyone's been talking about the icy handshake between the two. Jana, I feel like you're an expert on icy handshakes. What do you think was going on, or what do you take away from that?
Okay, this is where I wore my Star Wars shirt. Matt LaFleur is now Darth Vader. He has turned against the Jedis, and now he's on the dark side. And yeah, they're not friends. It looked really bad. Like, it looked so cold when he passed by him. And then it was, I don't know, I started cracking up because the team was like celebrating in the background. But yeah, I think that Kyle Shanahan was Yoda, and he just like passed away. He just passed away. And Matt LaFleur is now Darth Vader. He has destroyed the light side.
Zach, you're not a big Star Wars guy, are you?
No, I am not.
So me being a Star Wars fan, I would say that is I like that analogy, Janet. You're right. It seems like, Kyle Shanahan was kind of like this darling child within NFL communities, and his buddy, his big bad friend, Matt LaFleur came in and won the game, and Kyle Shanahan looked pissed off, and I feel like there's already been some hate going to the Packers with this offseason, and I think this maybe amplifies it a little bit more.
Certainly seems that way. And obviously, reports before the game, also along with that, was Aaron Rodgers' top destination was San Francisco. He wanted to play for the 49ers, obviously. Florio has all of the information. Then Rodgers followed it up this week on Pat McAfee show, talking up the city of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everyone knows Roethlisberger is on his way out, possibly even before the end of this season. So maybe the Steelers have their quarterback for next year. Who knows? That would be a scary team, I would say, if Aaron Rodgers goes to play for the Steelers. But yeah, let's talk about this game here, San Francisco. I was worried. I was definitely worried about this game. I was worried about the offensive line and the Packers. I mean, the offensive line wasn't good, but they schemed around it super well. Like, just comparing the two situations, like the Packers and the Bears, their offensive lines were pretty much just as poor, but the Bears just dropped the quarterback back 5 steps and let her rip. And the Packers, genius. They used a tight end to block. They used a running back to block. They threw the ball quickly. They chipped. They moved the pocket. So, like the offensive line, even though it was weak, it wasn't really an issue. Rodgers made them look even better than they are. And we've said that about Rodgers time and time again. There's multiple times where he avoided Bosa in the backfield and juked him out somehow. I'm not sure how he does that. But the offensive line ended up being pretty good. Royce Newman did Royce Newman things. We won't need to talk about that. Nijman, he had a tough task. Like, he didn't play super well, but he also had to play against Nick Bosa. So he did as well as he could have done, I thought. What do you guys think about the offensive line, about his performance against Bosa and all of that?
I was going to say shout out to Matt LaFleur, too, for tricking everyone on Earth and putting Rob Tonyan in to help Chip rather than Mercedes Lewis. But I
Right.
think Rob Tonyan in that game made Nijman look, people are saying he had a good game. I think that's the reason why.
Hmm.
Everyone saw that block on Twitter that Rob Tonyan just blew up Nick Bosa, and a lot of crazy things happen when you take out the best pass rusher on your team. It seems like the offense starts to work again. Um, so I wonder. The only thing that I come from that is I wonder how much more Robert Tonyan, who's kind of known for his receiving, is going to be used in kind of like that chip and release kind of role.
Hmm. What's your
Luke,
thoughts about Jude?
it's pronounced Tunyon,
No,
Luke,
it's always Tonyan.
like Funyun. He said like Funyun. You gotta respect. No, I think he
Travis
did.
Kelsey said Kels, and I don't agree with that.
That was so funny.
And Tyrod said
That
Tyrod. That's not happening
Yeah.
either.
No.
No, I think he did really well. And if you saw Bosa's presser right before, I saw clips of it. Like a lot of people were tweeting about it, talking about how he wasn't worried about who was going to be in front of him. He's going to go and run anybody over. But he actually got Tunyon wiped the floor with him, just running him over and over again. So I think that him not acting clueless, trying to make himself impressive, like, oh, I'm not worried about whoever's in front of me. It made it look even funnier that he was getting run over. But I think Tunyon did a good job of blocking him and making sure that he didn't get to Aaron.
I watched the game like a couple hours ago, like the condensed version, so it didn't take that long. But like the 49ers had the worst defensive game plan
Yeah.
of all time. They played a lot of man coverage and they showed everything pre-snap. So you're saying it's so disrespectful. Like they're showing Aaron Rodgers everything. It's like, okay, see if you can beat this. Here's your answer. Let's see if you can do it. And of course you can. But playing man and stuff, if the linebacker blitzed, then the tight end, Robert Tunyon, would chip him, or he would just leak out for an easy catch. Whoever the tight end was, whoever the running back was blocking there. If the linebacker stayed in coverage, then Tunyon would stay back and block and make the offensive line look better. It's super easy. And then that linebacker would be standing in no man's land being worthless on the entire play. So I don't get what their thought was. And like that big MVS catch down the sideline, they rushed only 3 players. You're not the Saints. I'm not sure what you're trying to do there. I don't like Packers looked so much better because of what the 49ers did. Not to take anything away from what the Packers did, but I wouldn't expect this going forward. I would assume most teams could come up with a better game plan.
Those were my thoughts exactly. This seems like a game where Aaron Rodgers is just kind of doing whatever he kind of wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that last drive, 37 seconds left, incredible. I still question why teams go into prevent defense when a team's on their own 25-yard line. But we said it last week on the show. Devontae Adams needed to be involved. He was involved. Devontae Adams had a great game, like usual. But the thing is, the defense, they have to stop either Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones, I think, against this Packers offense. Neither one of those things happened. Aaron Jones is running well. He's running great after the catch. And I think that's a big reason why that this Packers offense looks so good against, the great San Francisco defense or whatever people want to call them.
And they tried to take Devontae's head off, and that didn't work either. Like they did everything they could. So, I mean, props to them. They tried. Trevor chimed in saying he doesn't cost us $6 million a year. So, talking about the Kevin King comparison earlier. Going back to this game, Packers defense, first half, second half, very, very different games, I would say. Packers weren't blitzing a ton. They didn't do anything too crazy. Kenny Clark played one of his best games I think I've ever seen from him. He collapsed the pocket himself. If he can keep doing that, he's going to make Joe Barry look much better than he is. But whatever.
He made Jimmy Garoppolo throw a ball backwards.
Right. Yeah. Like he was a madman. He was very good. Very good. But second half, I mean, just talking about that first drive, San Francisco came out to score. they weren't respecting the edge of the Packers at all, whether it was throwing to the edge, running to the edge. Basically, like, let's avoid Kenny Clark and nobody else is going to be able to stop us. And they went right down the field. Packers missed maybe 3-4 tackles, maybe more than that on the drive. Packers on the touchdown, they blitzed 7 players and we couldn't get pressure. So, I mean, that's concerning. And obviously it leads to an easy touchdown. If you can't get the pressure when you blitz, you're fucked. So, pass rush is still an issue. If you don't have Kenny Clark collapsing the pocket by himself, Preston Smith is what he is. You know, we'll be better when Za'Darius is back. That's fine. Rashawn Gary, I think he had like quietly like 2 sacks on the night or something like that. But I mean, it was so quiet that he seemed to do not much else besides those 2 sacks. I don't know. Like, the pass rush still isn't great. The fact is, we don't have blitzing backers. The backers when they blitz or the cornerbacks when they blitz, it's a liability because they can't blitz. They don't get to the quarterback. They don't get home, and it leaves the defense simply, weak. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
The thing is, too, like you said, Rashawn Gary probably had a quiet 2 sacks, right? The pass rush wasn't good in there. Kenny Clark looked good. But I don't know if it's because Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback. That's why, they were getting there quick. Their offensive line, I don't think, did him any favors. But just in general, outside of the pass rush, I think during the whole game, there was not one point where I felt nervous when San Francisco was on offense. And I don't know if that speaks to Jimmy Garoppolo not being a good quarterback or the Packers playing well, or maybe a little bit of both. And that's why it's hard for me to evaluate this defense after playing Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it's going to be the same thing next week after they play Ben Roethlisberger. But I think the week after, once they get Joe Burrow, that'll be a little more interesting to see. I guess that offensive line is bad, but it'd be a little more interesting to see how, especially, I think Za'Darius is supposed to be back by then. I could be wrong, but.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback. Like, that's fine. I think he's better than Trey Lance right now.
Yeah.
But I said this multiple times. If Trey Lance started and played that full game, the Packers would have lost. Like, I don't think there's any two-way about it. If all they did is put Trey Lance in and run the ball 40 times, I think they would have beat the crap out of the Packers defense. Jimmy Garoppolo just wasn't a threat. And to your point, I never felt worried with the 49ers on offense either, but it was mostly because they weren't, making any big chunk plays. It was just super gradual down the field, and they did whatever they wanted in the second half, but it took so much time off the clock where it's like, Packers are up by enough, it should be fine, until it wasn't, and then Rodgers is still just
Rodgers,
and you don't have 5 guys on Devontae, then he's probably going to catch the football. So, yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything. Oh, special teams I also wrote down. That's still an issue. It's still not good. They had that big return, and that last field goal, no one's talking about it because it didn't happen. That was damn near blocked. It was so close. The guy was there. Like, he might have helped push it a little bit, like helping Crosby out. That's how close he was.
I think he got a little tailwind on the ball for him.
Maybe. If that was blocked, there would have been some very angry Packer fans. Very angry. So that's still, man, I don't even know. Like, he wasn't even touched. They sent 2 people on that edge blocker, and he just kind of didn't block either person. He just kind of juked the 2 rushers out.
Just outside of the Packers, I've always wondered why more teams didn't do more of that. A lot of teams, they put that linebacker back there in case there's a fake. There's hardly ever a fake. I think you have to put that linebacker or even put a cornerback and put 2 guys off the edge because you got to think one guy is going to get there, makes that end, make a decision, to block a field goal.
You would think, when they do that, then it's not hard to block, right? Like, it's not hard to adjust, but you have to communicate. And clearly communication wasn't there. He just didn't, figure it out.
The thing is, there's a lot of guys to communicate on that line, and one step, especially on the inside, one step, and that kick's getting blocked.
On top of that, knowing the personnel in front of you, Elton Jenkins is out. He's usually out there. It just brings in another inexperienced person to an inexperienced unit, blocking for a field goal at the biggest moment. Loud stadium, probably can't hear the snap count, can't hear all of that. So it makes sense why there was a miscommunication. It makes sense, you would think more teams would do something like that. You're right.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about the game? Chris Barnes, I guess, left with a concussion. He's still concussed, not blocking. I should bring up the injury report quick. But do you guys have anything else?
I will say that it felt like a big win for the Packers. I don't know about you guys, but that felt like a needed win to stay ahead in the NFC. I said right after the game this could have major playoff implications coming down to seeding. So it's huge to knock out these NFC, the big NFC opponents out right away. Kind of send a message through the league. And I feel like this kind of made up for that week 1 loss.
I agree with that. Yeah, especially with the way the Saints are trending. I'm not even sure if the Saints are going to be a playoff team anyway.
Right.
The 49ers, they're always dangerous. Like, they're definitely hurt by injuries right now. I don't think they're a good team, but I think they're one of those teams that could click and become a good team at any point. So it's a good win for LaFleur too. Like,
yeah, beat your buddy. It's always fun beating a buddy.
Yeah, one of those monkey on your back things. It's good. Looking at the injury report right now. So again, we're recording this Wednesday night. I have practice reports from Wednesday. Chris Barnes, Kevin King, both out with concussions still. When Chris Barnes went out, Ty Summers came in to play inside linebacker. Missed multiple tackles from what I remember. He wasn't great. Again, we talked about this in the preseason, that inside linebacker position is so damn thin. It's going to be a mess if someone gets hurt. Devondre Campbell, I believe, has been possibly the most important piece on that defense so far. Thank God he's still healthy. If he goes down, woof, we're not going to be good.
Hey, shout out to Ty Summers for missing that tackle on the goal line, though, to get Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds.
Yeah, no shit. Hey, it's part of the strategy. We haven't brought anybody else in or really promoted anybody else yet. And I suppose, concussion is one of those weird things. It's not like you're naturally progressing necessarily. There's no specific timetable. So could Chris Barnes be ruled active for Sunday? Yes. Could he be out? Yes. It's one of those crappy things. Hopefully he can go, because otherwise it's going to be Ty Summers. Then it's going to be Oren Burks behind him. We don't want to see him in there. And it would be the rookie then after that. So it'd be wise to sign a linebacker. There's linebackers out there. We've talked through them all ad nauseum. Hopefully there is something that happens there. Other injuries, Elton Jenkins' ankle still has not practiced. Hopefully he can go, but it's one of those things you can't really rush either. Marquez Valdez-Scantling did not practice with a hamstring. Then Aaron Jones, Vernon Scott, both limited. Not too worried about that. And Josh Myers has a finger injury, but he was a full participant, so no worries. Previewing the Steelers, their practice report, Juju Smith-Schuster, Ben Roethlisberger, Chukwuma Okorafor, and Carlos Davis all did not practice. Ben is more so a veteran rest day. Juju is dealing with rib injury. He may not play. Deontay Johnson, Alex Highsmith, Rashad Coward, and TJ Watt were all limited. If we can get TJ Watt super limited, boy, that would be nice, especially in this game. Luke, Janet, do you have any initial thoughts heading into Sunday afternoon kickoff? Once you're talking here, I'm going to bring up Aaron Rodgers' afternoon stats, actually.
Yeah, I can start here, Janet. But especially if TJ Watt plays, maybe this is a little key into my key of the game, but I think this has to be another Aaron Jones game. I talked about against Detroit, that Detroit was probably going to get after the Green Bay a little bit, and it seemed a little bit. And Aaron Jones got it done in both the pass and the run. I think it has to be the same here against Pittsburgh. They have Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, both incredible football players, but just getting the ball quick to Aaron Jones out in space, I think it has to be the big focus on offense this week. But that Pittsburgh offense, I don't think scares me at all. Like I talked about on the Fantasy Football Show, Ben Roethlisberger is kind of like a dog that gets old. You kind of watch him fall over and pee in the corner. That's what's kind of going on right now. The only thing that maybe scares me, if we don't have a linebacker other than Devondre Campbell, Najee Harris could eat us alive. he had
Yes.
double-digit receptions last week as a running back. I don't know why Pittsburgh would go any farther away from that this game due to that whole linebacker situation we got going on.
Completely agree. And yeah, I mean, last week for the Steelers, their offensive line is so bad. They're pretty much just using that dump off to Najee Harris as an extended handoff just so he didn't have to run behind him. That could be good. That could be bad, And then if he starts running the football effectively against the Packers front, that's when the Packers are in trouble. That's when the Steelers can actually run their offense, which they haven't been able to do yet. So, yeah, we'll talk about Keith in a little bit. But, yeah, they need to stop him bad. What do you think, Janet?
I agree. I think they should use Aaron Jones as well. I think he's been playing really phenomenal. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. I feel like other than maybe the Saints, which is kind of scary, I feel like I still haven't seen our defense, like our real defense, because of the fact that I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is good. I don't. And that offense was not good as well either. So I feel like I didn't get to actually see our defense like 100%. Also, with all these injuries, I don't feel like it just feels like they are not themselves, especially because they're not getting any sort of competition. So I think using Aaron Jones is going to be the key point to beating the Steelers. But also, I feel like I want to see our defense perform and not get stomped on by like the Saints. So I mean, I have the schedule right here. After the Steelers, we've got the Bengals, and then we've got the Bears, and then we've got Washington. I feel like not until week 8, maybe Cardinals, will we see our defense actually be challenged. So I don't know. I will have to agree with y'all that Aaron Jones is going to be the key point here, but I also want our defense to shine at some point as well.
Yeah, looking back to last week in the second half when San Francisco did anything they wanted, they just moved methodically down the field, passing to the flats, basically going side to side, just attacking the outside of the defense. The scary thing is that's the only thing the Steelers kind of do okay right now. Like Ben doesn't have the arm to pass it downfield anymore. So he is doing those really short routes, just moving the chain, just doing it like that. So if the Packers still can't stop that, that's all the Steelers are going to do. And it's going to be another one of those week 1 performances where the defense can't get off the field and Aaron Rodgers barely has the football, which is the most obvious way to beat the Packers. Like just limit the amount of time Rodgers has with the football. So yeah, it's
just to add on that, beating the Packers is, you're not giving Aaron Rodgers the ball. Another key to that is putting him under pressure. And like I had mentioned with Cam Hayward, I wouldn't be surprised if they lined him in that one technique between Newman and Myers.
I would. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
He will eat them alive. He is a very, very underrated part of that Steelers defense for sure. He's super good. And Billy Turner hasn't exactly been the most mobile on the outside either. And I'm sure TJ Watt will be, haunting his dreams basically all week until he gets to see him on Sunday. Looking at Aaron Rodgers' stats here, he is best in afternoon games, it looks like here. 49 games in the afternoon, 35-14 record, 110 passing touchdowns to only 23 interceptions. Only thing better is in primetime games, averaging the most yards per game out of the time slots. So for some reason, I was thinking the Packers were worse in afternoon games, but it seems like it's the exact opposite, which is good news.
Well, if we base it off this season, week 1 was an afternoon game.
Yes, it was. He also has played the Steelers only twice for his career, it looks like. Regular season was a loss. Postseason was obviously the Super Bowl.
When did it say when that regular season game was?
It does not.
I remember
I can find that really quick.
they played them a couple years back, and I can't remember if that was when Aaron Rodgers was out and Hundley was in. It was on Sunday Night Football. I don't know if you guys remember that game or not.
It was for sure Rodgers because I'm just looking at his stats right now.
Okay.
That was 2009 at the
No,
ripe age of 26 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Completed 54% of his passes, however, 383 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So decent game, I would say. But yeah, so keys to victory. I mean, we talked about Aaron Jones. We talked about that defense. I mean, I'll say the same thing as I'll say every single week. Like, we need to win at the point of attack. We have to. If the Steelers are able to run the football on the Packers, I think it's over. So we need to make sure we're not the first team that makes Pittsburgh look competent running the football. Like, that's the most important thing defensively. I hope Kevin King can play this week because I don't think Ben can beat him over top. And if he does that, cut him, please. If he's the first person, then let's Ben do that. But like, this might be the perfect Kevin King game. So I would love to see him out there, little confident boost. Then we can sit him again. That's fine. But yeah, I also want to see him more in the nickel since we talked about it all offseason. Now the Packers are like, hey, we should try him in the nickel. That would be awesome to see. I think he'd be good at that. Offensively, I mean, we got to get the ball out quick. We have to do the same thing we did with the 49ers. I'm not sure how well we will be able to attack downfield like we did on the Niners, but we have to get the ball out to the flats quick. If they're going to blitz, Pittsburgh loves to blitz, obviously. It'll be less so against Rodgers. But if they blitz, we need to pass to somebody right behind that blitz. We have to. If we can do that, we should be fine.
Yeah, and you got to think getting the ball quick, those screens, those one-on-one throws. That's going to set something up at least one or two shots deep come second quarter or something like that.
Can we use Cobb doing that, please?
I think so.
That would be awesome. It's weird. Like, he's getting some snaps now too. It's weird that Rodgers isn't forcing it to him, which is fine. I just felt like he would do that just to sort of prove to everybody and be like, hey, see, Randall can still play. But instead, now every Packers reporter is like, maybe Rodgers was wrong about Randall Cobb because he has done nothing. But whatever. Janet, do you have anything else that the Packers need to do here?
Oh, I was gonna say a comment. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you did, but you watched the press. Sorry, teacher voice. I watched the presser, and I think one of the reporters asked Rodgers a question, and he forgot to mention Cobb, and he was like, "At Cobb." Like, he corrected him. You forgot to mention Cobb. He like backs him up so much. Yeah. Also, Ben, he doesn't have the arm or the body. Like, he doesn't have anything left in him.
No.
So I'm just hoping that our defense takes advantage that Ben is like done. And just gets him every single time.
Yeah, just going off of that, this should be the game where Joe Barry shows his, he's blitzing. This is like the perfect game to just send everyone to the house. Let Najee Harris beat you in the flat. Let your linebackers make some tackles or whatever. Let it gang tackle the ball. But you need to hit Ben Roethlisberger in this game on the very first play of the game.
You cannot be the defense that make Ben Roethlisberger continue playing football. Essentially, like, we don't want to give the Steelers any confidence in him. That's my worry. Like, I don't want to be the defense after week 4 where everyone's like, oh, maybe Ben is good. Like, and that's what I'm nervous is going to happen. Right now, the line is the Packers are favored by 6.5 points. Over-unders at 45.5 points. I think most games for the Packers have been floating around that 50 mark.
Yeah.
So a little lower scoring here. That makes sense, especially if what happens is what I said before, where the Steelers sort of go on long, methodical drives and don't let Rodgers have the football, which is a little concerning. Let's start with Trevor's prediction here. He says he thinks the Packers are going to win 31-27, so he thinks high-scoring game. And he thinks Adrian Amos is going to come through to be the MVP of the game, make some sort of play to really turn things. Luke, do you agree with them? What's your thoughts on this game?
I like that Amos because you get pressure to Rodgers just like he did last week. He threw right to a defender who was 2 steps in front of him. I think if you're blitzing, Amos has got to play that middle of the field spot. So I could definitely see an interception or a big hit over the middle or something to get the momentum going. But I think I think we go. What you said was 45 was the over under.
45 and a half.
Okay, I still think I'll go under that. I don't know how much Pittsburgh scores, especially if you get to Ben Roethlisberger. But if you do, if you don't get to him, it's probably going to be dumping off to Najee Harris or running stretches to the outside. So that doesn't seem like a lot of points there. Packers probably score in a hurry a couple times, but yeah, I don't see it. I'm thinking this game would be like a 28-7 or 28-10 game somewhere in there. I think Packers do end scoring 4 touchdowns. I just don't think Pittsburgh's great enough to reach that over. But that's gambling talk. I think, key to the game, like I said, is getting to Ben Roethlisberger, getting the ball to Aaron Jones. That happens. I think the Packers win by double digits. If one of those slip up, it could come down to a field goal game like the 49ers. So I think you go one of two ways here, but I think that I would have been more scared of Jimmy Garoppolo than I would be of Ben Roethlisberger this week. So I do like the Packers' chances in this game.
That's fair. Janet, what is your prediction?
All right. I just wanted to see. I hadn't remembered the score between the Bengals and the Steelers last week. The Bengals beat them 24-10. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say that the Steelers will probably lose this game. I'm gonna give them 10 points as well, and we're up by, I'm gonna say 31-10. And I think that Campbell pretty much got lit up last week, and I think he's going to be pumped again. So I think he's going to be the star of the game, as well as Aaron Jones for this week coming up.
Campbell's been really good. Like, we talked about him before the Packers even signed him. We're like, this is a really underrated guy who the Packers should sign. He's been so important to that defense.
Yeah.
He's been really, really good. I think Packers win as well. I think it's going to be a little bit closer just because I do think the defense may have a little bit of issues getting off the field. I'll go Packers 24, Steelers 20. I think it could be like one of those second half comeback type of things. I'm a little bit worried. We'll see who is even active for the Steelers. That could make a lot of difference. We'll see if Elgton Jenkins is even active for the Packers. Obviously, that would make a massive difference in a game like this. Another key, just really quick to bring in, I really do believe this Packers offense needs to get Robert Tonyan involved. I think he would just open up so much for the play action, especially. Last week he did a good job blocking, but if he can be that check down guy or run some sort of routes over the middle, I think he could be. We need somebody besides Adams. If it's Cobb, that's fine too. But we need to have some sort of reliable underneath option that is not Devontae Adams, I think.
Once you get that underneath option, you got to think that Marquez Valdes-Scantling will end up getting that 40-yard touchdown sooner than later.
Right. Agreed. Hopefully he can play too. That actually, say what you want about him. It would help to have someone who could at least stretch that defense a little bit. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about with this game?
Do you want to talk about Eric Stokes at all?
Sure. Yeah, I thought he played well.
Yeah.
So obviously Kevin King was out, and it seems even if Kevin King returns this week, it seems like Eric Stokes is going to be the starting outside corner, and they would move King to the nickel, like we talked about. He looked like a rookie a few times. He got beat a bunch, but it was just like in college. He got beat, and he was fast enough that where he tracked him down, which is great when he can do that. I think he got caught grabbing a couple times too. But I think, he held his own. He wasn't a liability by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. I agree with you on that. Did see a couple times he was given that 10-yard cushion, and I don't know if that was because they were in zone or whatever, 4 deep or whatever. But I think Eric Stokes is perfect just to put him up, jam the number 2 receiver or whatever every single time, and just let him run by you because you're fast enough that you can catch up. you're probably not good. You probably can't do that against Patrick Mahomes or people who have cannons. But I guess
Mhm.
especially against Jimmy Garoppolo, I think you can definitely just push up, play cushion, or play press every play and make up that speed.
I agree with that. Also, that Jair Alexander interception was one of the prettiest interceptions I've ever seen. Just tracking the ball like that.
He looked like the receiver.
Exactly. He is so good at football. And that's one of those, like, I'm pretty sure he wasn't called to be there. Like, that
No.
was one of his, he just made a play. Like, he
Yeah.
just went off of this guy and made the play, which is obviously, it looks so good when that works. And when it doesn't, you look like Kevin King in the NFC Championship.
I was gonna say Charles Woodson made a career on doing that.
Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. Janet, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
I will take Eric Stokes' rookie mistakes over Kevin King. I will take his rookie mistakes over Kevin King. All right. That's all I had to say.
Same here. No arguments here. We'll be back next week to preview. Janet, you said the Bengals. Is that who they got after this?
Yes.
So hopefully we're talking 3-1 going into becoming 4-1 at that point. Big game. This is a big game. Obviously AFC, but Steelers are still a very good football team. It's a home game. This is one the Packers need to get. So enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your rest of the week. We will be back next week. Later.
Go Pack.